This topic is supposed to be something about section 7. Okay, so we are actually about to have our last subtopics presentation, which is about ID championing. And I think there are 7 of them that are going to present. The 6 of them going to be the presenters for this particular topic. And I also have something to present about your last task or your last assignment, assessment, which is something about the peer assessment. Later, after the presentation has been done by your friends. Okay. We actually will wait for another minute. Session. Okay, I think we may proceed with the next presentation. Okay, let me call out and reach out for the names of the presenters of today. Okay, I think Afik Imran, and then Haikal Ikmal, Muhammad Hafiz Ishaq, Muhammad Fakih Hazik, Nick Muhammad Farhan, and Shahrul Afifi, and the last but not least is Muhammad Aiman. Are you guys ready with the presentation for the last subtopics that we are going to have? Are the presenters here right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's actually do the talking right now? Is it Afik Imran
Yes,
or
indeed.
Muhammad Shahrul Hafifi? Okay, guys, I think you may actually get started with the presentation right now. We're not going to waste any more time about this. Chen Chongli. ID championing. Yakesh. Oh, the last is one is actually Yakesh.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Nick, I think your voice is actually quite deep. I couldn't hear you clearly. Where are you actually?
In my room.
In my room.
Yes.
No, I'm not so sure whether the rest of you actually can hear you clearly, but I can't. It sounds so deep. It sounds so.
Hello, hello. Sir?
It actually remains the same, but your friend's voice is actually louder than you actually.
Hello, sir. Is it better right now?
Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good evening to my fellows and sir. So
Salam.
today is our last presentation. The topic is idea championing, empowering innovators. So next slide.
Idea championing.
Okay. So what is idea championing? The definition of idea championing is the active promotion of new ideas, embracing their potential and supporting the innovator who proposed them. The effective idea championing can break down the bureaucratic barriers, speed up the innovation process, and ultimately drive success. So, what if the benefits of this idea? So, it benefits both of the individual and the organization, enabling employees to grow and flourish while contributing to overall company goals. Okay.
Like this idea championing is important. Build a strong.
So, why is idea championing important? First, the collaboration. Idea championing encourages teamwork and can help build strong long-term relationships between individuals and teams. Second is innovation. This idea championing can facilitate experimentation with new approaches, leading to innovative solutions and improvements in processes and service. And the third one is employee engagement. By the idea championing, it empowers employees to take charge of their own work, boosting motivation and engagement for the individual and the team. So that's all from me. I pass
Nick,
to
Nick, Nick,
yes,
Nick.
yes, yes, sir.
Can you please simplify to me what is actually the simplest meaning of ID championing?
So the simplest way to define the idea championing is the one person in the organization or team that express the idea from anyone that that make it clear or improve the idea to work help strong relationship. So it means that is one there will be one person to be the champion someone's idea to make it clear and approach the encouragement between the team.
So the idea has to be something that is authentic or could be extended from someone else's idea.
It's not uh, it depends on the topic of the team is carry uh, like
It could
it's
be
not
both.
always the authentic ideas, but
Okay.
any ideas that approach to the innovation of or collaborating in teams that will
Mhm.
also work in idea championing.
So it could be both authentic and it could be something that has actually been proposed by someone else, but later been extended to you.
Yes,
Okay. So and one more thing is actually the idea has to be believable.
it's not like that. Sometimes the unpredictable and unbelievable idea could also be the reason for
Okay.
the team to work with the great idea after that.
Also, it could be something that is quite impossible to work with, but you
Yes,
later on you actually work with that.
yes.
Okay.
Is that
Okay.
the idea championing is work for? Is
Okay.
engaging
Okay.
everyone to work with the idea.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So, which means that you have to actually make other people actually in the within the same team to actually put their trust on you to work on the theory or to work on the idea that you actually has proposed.
Yes. Correct, sir.
Okay.
Okay, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
The next is characteristic of effective idea champions. First, passion. An effective idea champion is passionate about their vision and communicate it clearly with team members and stakeholders. Number two is resilience. Effective idea champions display resilience and persistence in the face of obstacle and are able to pivot when necessary. The lastly is openness. Ideas champions approach their work with an open mindset, seeking diversity of opinion and continuously learning from others.
Hafiz, can I ask you something?
Yes,
What do you mean by stakeholders?
uh, like uh, team members or
The
uh,
sponsors.
like yes, good.
Okay, so good. I think what you actually meant by stakeholders here is actually group of people that could actually donate the fund to actually make sure that your idea is actually something that is achievable and doable. Am I right? If I am actually doing the wrong thing, you just can express your disagreement with me. Always, am I actually not in the correct statement right now? Stakeholders.
Okay, okay.
Anyone else can help in your team members? Stakeholders?
Yes, it's like investors.
Or investors. Okay, thank you, Yakish. So it means that you have to convince your group of people or your investors to actually put their funds on you and to just to make sure that the idea is something that is actually something that could bring benefits to your your company or might be bring some benefits to your what do you mean by a certain organization that you actually working with and bring so much profit on that. Okay. So it's okay. Okay, it's clear. Thank you. Next one.
Thank you.
Skills. Champion. Who's the next presenter?
Next is key skill for successful idea championing.
Next is me.
Communication.
My name is Michael Ikmal.
Ah,
So key skill for successful idea championing. So the first one is listening and empathy. Effective idea champion listen, active, and show empathy to those who propose new idea, building trust and with their team members. And for the second one is communication. Effective idea champions communicate their ideas clearly and persuasively, bringing others on board with their vision and building momentum for change. And for the third one is mentoring. So mentoring is idea champion mentor and coach others. So it means the mentor and mentee sharing best practice and knowledge to help individual grow and gain confidence in their teamwork.
right.
So the next slide is example of successful idea championing. And I can give an example like Elon Musk and Tesla.
Okay.
Musk championed the idea of electric vehicle and renewable energy, and he led the development of the electric car. Can prove that EV could be a practical in the modern era.
Have you actually ever heard about his own idea? He actually intended to create, I think, I'm not so sure, something that he dreamt of building something on the over the moon within
SpaceX.
2030. Is it? Am I right?
Yeah, SpaceX.
How about that idea champion? Do you think that is actually something doable and achievable at the same time?
For me, I think uh, it's Maybe cannot say 100% achievable, but possible.
It's possible. Why?
Why? Because Elon Musk have money, right? So he can do anything he wants.
Who said that money can buy everything? Okay, now, okay, proceed. So I'm just asking you regarding to that. Don't worry.
Okay, so the next presenter is next slide.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Aiman.
So this is the challenges and risks of idea championing. So the first one is resistant to change. Idea championing can face resistance from those who are inclined to maintain the status quo, leading to roadblocks and delays in implementation. So
Aiman, can I ask you?
yes, sir.
Oh, Aiman, do you want to explain about this one?
Yes, sir. I want to explain.
Okay, go for the
So
first.
maybe when you propose a new idea, some people may not like it or want to accept it. So because they might prefer to stick with the way things have always been done. This can happen because people are afraid of change or they don't understand how the new idea can be beneficial to them. So to overcome this challenge, I think it's quite important to communicate clearly, involve others in the process and show them the advantage of the idea. So the second one is risk of
Aiman, can you just a bit question?
yes,
Just be frank with me. Why do you think there are certain people that is actually quite difficult to embrace the changes, the
because I
new ideas brought by the other people, by sometimes by the new posted juniors? Why they're actually really really difficult to actually embrace that kind of changes?
I think because they sit in their comfortable zones and they
Mhm.
don't want to grow.
Yes, I think that is actually one of the main points right there. You got
Yeah.
it. You actually got it right.
Yes.
Because some people they're actually within their comfort zone and they actually unwilling to go through it all over again. And I think because if a slight changes actually will be brought to a certain organization, it will actually embark and sparks the idea for the entire company might be have to change for major changes as well. So it will
Mm.
actually involve some of the people with the company or the entire company employees as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm agree with you.
what
So
is it?
the second one is risk of failure. So idea championing carries a risk of failure which can be stressful and demotivating for both the innovator and the champion. However, some failures can lead to valuable learning experiences. So implementing new ideas often requires additional resources. It can be money, people, technology, and time. But however, there may be limitations of these resources, which can make it difficult to move forward with idea. So to tackle this challenge, in my opinion, it's important to carefully evaluate the resources needed. We can look for support or alternative solutions and make the best use of the available resources. So the third point is resource constraints. Idea championing can require significant time and resources to implement, making it challenging for small teams or those with limited budgets. So what it means by here is when we implement new ideas, it often requires additional resources like money, people, technology, and time.
Okay, so I think these are actually most of the basic things or the setbacks that is experiencing by some people in order to actually to make a certain ideas and notions to become a real one.
Yeah,
So one of the most basic actually the resilience or the resistance to change and also the risk. There are certain risks that you have to consider it that you are actually willing to take it if the idea that we are proposing are actually not working as planned as well, and for the resources, the constraint of the resources as well.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Next slide.
Hello.
Hello. Who's talking right now? Harifi.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, Harifi. Okay, I can hear you, Harifi.
Okay.
It's
Uh, Sorry, sir. I have a problem here.
You are actually having problem with? What is it?
I have a problem with echo.
Sorry? Echo. Oh, echo. The echo. Okay, okay. It's okay.
The mic is echoing.
A bit. But it's fine. Actually, can hear you clearly.
Uh, okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Tips for becoming effective idea championing. First, practice active listening. We must encourage others to share their thought and opinion by listening actively and respectfully. Show empathy and knowledge the value of other perspective. For the second, communicate precisely. Articulate your vision clearly and precisely using data and storytelling to support your message. Address other concern and actively seek buy-in from the key stakeholder. The third one is coach and mentor. Build a culture to continuous learning by serving as a mentor and coach to others. Share knowledge and empower team member to develop new skill and take ownership of their work.
What will happen is everyone within the group is actually about would love to voicing out the opinion at the same time. Nobody would like to listen to anyone's idea. What would happen?
Uh, can you repeat the question, sir?
What is going to happen if everyone within the same group is actually want to voicing out their opinion about their own perspectives and ideas without anyone wants to listen to?
To be honest, it will actually promote to a better understanding of other people. But the problem will lies when most people want to be the alpha in that group. So the multiple leader will actually make multiple role, and multiple role will actually conduct to extremely how you say it, misbehavior amongst our teammates.
So the role of the leader is actually needs to be played effectively throughout the
Yes.
discussion. Yeah, you have to set up few rules and few punishment or few rewards of if certain rules is actually being broken out. So I think one of the main things is actually the role of the leader needs to be played effectively throughout discussion. At the same time, everyone needs to bear in mind that being respectful isn't a sign of weakness. Okay,
Yeah.
it means that being respectful is actually as a sign of strength because you could actually appreciate everyone's opinion without actually offending their own feelings, right?
Yep, I agree with you on that.
Okay. Anything else you would like to explain about?
No, sir. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Can I move on to quiz?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please. So guys, basically what can you actually conclude based on the presentation that you actually had presented just now? In the simplest way, in your own sentences, what could you actually explain about that? The whole thing that you actually had explained and bragging about. What is it? Anyone would love to? Yakesh?
Hi, sir.
Hi. Okay.
Okay, so
What can
basically
you actually
this whole presentation is about tips on how to idea champion and how to
Mhm.
effectively idea champion and what is the meaning of idea champion. So I think knowing how to idea champion is really essential for these days because it shows how to bring up an idea, how to showcase our ideas in a very good form, how to propose our ideas to other people, how to make the idea famous or in some sort of way. So I think idea champion is really important these days.
Okay, Yakesh, this is just a teaser for you, okay? This is just a simple question. Do you think that you actually practiced this one, applied this one when you actually had a discussion with your friends throughout the execution of the projects?
Mm, like,
All of them.
so can you repeat your question?
No, my question to you is, do you think that you
Mm-hmm.
actually applied all of these kind of rules and all these kind of guidelines when you actually dealing with a lot of discussions, with dealing, working on the execution of the project?
Maybe some of it's
When
like
everyone is
communicating. Maybe some of
okay,
it like communicating, right?
how?
It's a key. Like listening other people's perspective, like looking from different angles. I think it's really
Okay.
important. If we communicate and we talk to each other, we get to see from other people's perspective, and then we get to solve the problem in an easier way. So I feel like communicating is what we communication is key. So that's what we have been implementing in our group projects. So I think that is one
Communication
of
is
the
actually the, yeah.
yeah
Communication is actually what is it? Okay. No, I mean what I wanted to say is communication is actually will actually raise the mutual respect among the team members. Actually.
correct, sir. Because
Okay.
if you don't communicate, we won't get better understanding of each other's view. So if we communicate, we get at least a short view, a brief view on what they are trying to portray.
Without
So yes,
effective communication, it would the idea that you should had voiced out and shared about is pointless. No, without effective communication, I was saying that without effective communication, without mutual respect, understanding, the shared idea that you actually had talked about would be pointless. It won't be actually, it actually won't be become true. Okay. I think we actually will proceed with the activity that you guys actually have served. You want to
Yes,
proceed with
sir.
it? Okay. I think, have you actually attached the link? Quizzes. Okay.
Yes, sir. The quizzes.
So everyone, please click on the link and then join the quizzes as well. Let's try this one together. Come on, this is actually our very last topic. We have have Aiman Sufyan, Ain Rashika, Alip Aiman, Evangelis, Aki, Nurah Hakim, Amar Amran, Angel Nago, Arina Naziha, Azizah Adri Bashi Kamarudin, Cheng Chong Lee. Come join us in as well. Adilo, Edmund, Evan, Fikri, this is Harith, Hazik Zikri, Ikmal, Malha Zikri, Ikmal Ashraf, Ikmal Yatul, Izmir, Yunrong, Lau Chankit, Libanchi, Lim, Muhammad Afiq Firdaus, Amin, Alif Hakim, Faiz, Zikri, Fadil, Afif, Irfan, Arif, Irfan, Daniel, Muhammad Hafiq, Hafiz, Asif Bahrain, Nabil Nazri, Muhammad Farhan, Nur Akmal, Akwa, Atika, Fakihah, Naima. And we have some KT answers. You, Shunli, Shazana, and Safi Shamimi. Taufik, Wan Bashir, Waikyat, Yakesh, Yuhan Ong, and Zafran. Okay. Come on, let's join in for the quizzes, and then we can actually try to finish this one earlier before we actually end it. I would love to present some of the things that you need to complete for the rest of the assessment or for the rest of projects. One Bashir. $28. 28. Let's wait for another 2 minutes, okay? Providing some facts. 30 participants right now. And the rest of you?
Can we start now, sir?
Yes, I think you may.
So guys, for this winning of this competition, win to Alif Mohaimi. So you can get a 2-day vacation at the Premier Suite at main house at Powira Hotel at Parit Raja.
Huh? Where are you?
Yes, Parit Raja. They have a premium hotel at there.
What kind of premium hotel?
Oh, one for my understanding, they are have a 9 or 14 queen bed size.
You're
That's one.
talking bullshit right now.
No,
Okay.
all right.
Anything else? Okay, if there's none of the for the explanation, I think I would love to present my slide in regards to your final assessment about the peer assessment. Wait. Search. Okay, let's do just a bit, and it might be a short briefing of presentation in regards to what I actually had prepared. High screen. Share. Slide share. Okay, guys, can you guys see on my screen? What is it? Can you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, first of all, your final and for the last assessment is actually something about peer assessment, in which you are being given the power, the authority to actually assess your teammates, something that you actually had worked on together throughout the first phase till the execution phase, and for the last series of the course. Wait. Okay. Just a brief introduction. Okay, what is peer assessment? So peer assessment or peer review provides a structured learning process for students to critique and provide feedback to each other on their work. So it is actually still a process of learning by providing some feedbacks. In this case, you and your peers actually on certain requirements mentioned in the rubrics, and the feedback actually were based on the project that you actually have worked on together. The proposal, I mean, I was talking about the proposals and for the execution of the project. So fundamentally, this is not definitely, this is actually something this is not something personal. Okay, this actually shouldn't be something personal. Instead, it's actually for your professional growth, on certain areas that they need to work on to make it or to make them actually better worker or better as a team worker, to make it actually better for the experience. It might actually be the way how they communicate or the way they actually express certain opinions in regards to the projects, or that might be not as effective as you actually thought it would be. So point on those things just to help them to be a better team member when it actually comes to teamwork. So for the second one, it's actually help students develop lifelong skills in assessing and providing feedbacks to others, and also to equip them with skills to assess, to self-assess, improve their own work. So as actually I've mentioned, I've mentioned in a previous lecture that we actually had last week, lifelong learning is actually a process of continuous learning. For example, acquiring new knowledge or new experiences or new skills. So by introducing a peer assessment task to you, it actually could help you to actually assess and judge things in a more efficient ways, as well as actually helping others, which is actually one you are actually assessing to improve on their works in future. So it is actually a process of killing two birds with one stone. You actually at the same time you improving your self-assessment towards others, and at the same time you are actually helping them to improve themselves. So it is a process of killing two birds with one stone. It happens simultaneously. Okay, so why you actually use a peer assessment? So to empower students to take responsibility for and manage their own learning. So basically you have to take responsibility on your own learning, but within the context of the project that you actually have worked on together, this kind of peer assessment is actually further encourages you to be more cooperative and responsible and productive members in a group. Okay, so for those who are actually being assessed or judged by their peers, need to respond to the feedbacks that you actually have attained in more professional way in order to improve yourself, new skills that you actually have attained, and also in terms of knowledge. So eventually you have to simultaneously adopt the concept of lifelong learning and actually manage to take responsibility on your own learning as well. So and the last one is actually enable students to learn to assess and give others constructive feedbacks to develop lifelong learning assessment skills. Number three is enhance students' learning through knowledge diffusion and exchanges of ideas. So for this particular one, you actually the teammates can actually embrace the differences of ideas being shared together in a more proactive and more effective way by somehow do some necessary adjustments and eventually adopt and implement the differences of ideas that you guys actually had voiced out throughout discussion. So it's actually a win-win situation for both sides towards the end of the day. So it means that even though you might have some misunderstanding or seen some disagreements about something or some of the ideas that you actually had projected. So towards the end of the day, by actually have a peer assessment more effective way, you can actually adapt and adopt those kind of differences and to make it a more effective way. Okay, the last one is actually motivate students to engage with course material deeply. So it means that the execution of assessment towards someone else or those who actually receiving the feedbacks will help them to be more familiarized with the course materials being given to them as well. So it actually helps the materials to be used and manipulated to its maximum while uh, while actually executing the project. Okay, for example, in this context, it is actually referring to the rubric given to you. So whereby you actually have to follow closely with the guidance, with the guidelines given to you in order to actually help you to execute the project as required and efficiently throughout the day. Okay, the drawbacks for this one. Okay, there are a few drawbacks that you could actually identify by doing this kind of peer assessment, you know. So here, okay, the first one is negatively affected by group collusion. So by this, it actually means that some people within the groups might actually establish a pact or actually an agreement illegally to score or assess his friends. So when you are being given with the score sheet by me at the end of the semester, so try to assess your peers as transparent as possible. Okay, so be honest with the scoring. Yes, you guys are actually friends, but we want to help them to become actually get better grades throughout the completion of this course. But but you are actually not helping them. Sometimes we are actually establishing the pack just to make sure that we are actually helping them, but you are actually not helping them in a good way. Okay, you are not actually helping them to get a lifelong learning concept. So they couldn't actually identify what are actually the areas of weaknesses that they need to improve on, and what are things that they actually have to work with some other people as well. Okay, for the second one is used to score some students unfairly. Okay, by this one is actually something that is quite different with what I actually had explained. It means that you actually dealing with someone that you disliked, or you might actually not a big fan of him. So just because of that scenario that you actually had some disagreement throughout discussion that you had in past experience, you might actually score him in a very low grade, a score, though the fact that he actually did a very good job in terms of the execution of the plan or in terms of the discussion. So I do not want this kind of nasty behavior to be actually implemented while you are actually scoring other people. You know, please score people, please score your peers fairly throughout, because some of the grades, some of the sections are going to be discussed further about this one. Okay, the first one might be about the communication, the second one might be something about the professionalism. So look on those aspects, or look on the sections, try to figure out, is this person is actually belong in this category, or this is this person is actually belongs in the on the other category. And for the third one is actually unenjoyable for some students. So I've mentioned, as I've explained, it might be unenjoyable for some people because they might be assessed and judged unfairly by some of the peers, or there might be an establishment of some packs within certain groups just to make sure that their peers is actually getting more prominent scores than the rest of the other groups. Okay. So how is actually to minimize the weaknesses of the peer assessment that I'm going to give you later. So use a rubric or checklist that clearly outlines what students are to look for when marking works. Okay, this is something that I will actually further disclose to you towards the end of the presentation, because as I actually expose what are the criteria that you actually need to work on and you need to focus on. Okay, follow closely with all those kind of things. So this is actually something that could actually help to minimize the weakness of the peer assessment sheet that I actually will spread and give it to you later. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, there are five few subsections that you need to actually look through. Okay, among of those five are actually the communication aspect, and then professionalism aspect, and some other three that I couldn't actually recall. Okay, so those are basically things that you need to know and need to get deeper understanding about when you are actually working on the peer assessment later as a tertiary. Okay, I'll show you what is actually the rubric for the peer assessment looks like. Okay, guys, look at this. English development engagement. Okay, this is actually the rubric that actually being handed over to us as lecturers by the authorized person. So you can see that based on your observation experience completing the group project, assess each of your group members in terms of A, contribution, teamwork, communication, problem solving, and professionalism. So these are the five aspects or five components that you need to focus on when you assessing your peers, because it will be given as a whole group, and you will be required to write down your names, and not your name, your friends' names, and you, at the same time you have to assess them fully. Okay, and this one will be representing the weightage of the score for this one is actually 10%. This is actually the least current weightage in comparison to some other assessment that you actually had done. Okay, the first section is actually the contribution section, in which the extent to which the team member contributed to the success of the project, including taking initiative, meeting deadlines, and completing assigned tasks. Okay, if you think that particular person is actually consistently went above and beyond to contribute to the success of the project, so you can actually score him a 9 or 10. If you think that he is actually belongs within the good category, okay, you might actually score that person as well, belong into that category as well, remember. And how about the teamwork? Think and figure out what about the teamwork that you actually had gone through while executing the project. Okay, the extent to which a team member worked collaboratively. Do you guys actually work collaboratively with one another, including communicating effectively, respecting others' ideas and perspective? Okay, something that we actually have talked about while your friends were presenting about the idea championing, respecting others' opinions and ideas as well, perspectives. Okay. So the least favorite one is actually did not work collaboratively with others, with significant issues in communication or respect for ideas for others' ideas and perspectives. I am actually hoping that there's none of you belong within this kind of category, because this is actually not a good picture. It does not reflect a good one towards a person. And then the next section will be talking about the communication. To the extent to which the team member communicated effectively, including actively listening, sharing ideas and perspectives, and providing constructive feedback. So while listening, while sharing your ideas, someone has to actually provide some support to the team members who actually voiced out their opinions, and at the same time try to adopt that kind of positive attitude within the discussion. So if you think that particular person you are actually assessing, applying this kind of communication skills and effective communication skills, you actually can put that person within the category of excellent. Same with good, communicate effectively, but with some minor issues in active listening or providing constructive feedback. So every single score that you actually will provide is actually based on your own opinion. You are entitled on your opinion on this, and I'm not going to be the one who actually disrupt and judge what is actually the score that you actually have provided. It is on you, but you have to bear in mind the score that you actually have provided will actually give a big impact to the person that you are assessing. So towards the end of the results, when the result came out, you have to bear in mind that you actually have a slight influence towards what the results are, the outcomes of person. And the last one is actually problem solving. Not the last one, that's the second last. The extent to which the team member contributed to problem solving and conflict resolution, including offering creative solutions and working constructively with others to resolve issues. Okay, is there any kind of leadership being cultured or being inculcated throughout the discussion, which is about the problem solving leadership? Is anyone within the group is actually applying this kind of thing? Okay, you might actually have thought about that as well. And the last one is professionalism. The extent to which the team member acts professionally throughout the project, including being punctual, respectful, and responsible. So, wait. 1, 2, professionalism, problem solving, communication, teamwork, and contribution. So these are the 5 sections, the prominent sections that you need to focus on while assessing and judging your friends later on, that I will give you the spreadsheet. Okay, this is the example of spreadsheet. Okay, each team will actually attain this kind of form of spreadsheet form. Okay, you have to write down each of the team members' names within the spreadsheet distributed later. And for example, A is actually representing the contribution, the contribution section, and B is actually representing the teamwork section. C for the communication section, and D is problem solving section, and E is in particular for professionalism section. So excellent, good, fair, and poor. Okay, this is something that I think it wouldn't take too much time. Is something that would be done within a day, I guess. Okay, so you have to write down your friends or peers' names within the respective columns provided here, and please score them fairly. It's not something personal, but according to the professionalism. Okay, make sure that you are actually doing the right things when assessing your friends. Okay, guys, any questions in regard to your last assessment, peer assessment? Okay, as I mentioned before, within the last week that we actually had our discussion in classes, you are actually required to submit your third assessment, which is the reflective logging, on week 14. So it will actually simultaneously happen with this one. You actually have to simultaneously submit the reflective log and for the peer assessment within the same week on week 14. I think there's no problem with that because it's actually quite a simple task for you to do, except for the reflective log where it actually requires more time for you to cut and paste and cut and edit certain film certain recorded videos that you actually have recorded. Okay. Any questions pertaining to what I actually had presented about your peer assessment? Hello?
No questions.
No questions. Okay. Wait. Okay. Is everyone already asleep? Today is actually not, because I thought everyone is actually fall asleep because it's quite a tiresome today for me actually. I've got so many things to handle about earlier this morning, and it carries on till afternoon and till evening till now. So it's a very exhausting day for me. But I'm not so sure for the rest of you. I think because you guys have to focus on so many things at the same time, and you guys have to work on some of the some other assignments and projects simultaneously. So I'm assuming that you actually might actually dealing with the same situation, but I'm hoping not. Okay. Yeah. If there's no further questions regard to your assignment or assessment, last one. Event. So we give our own score. Okay, for that particular reason, I will actually seek for guidance from my colleagues about that. Okay, I actually been thought about that as well, but I actually haven't had the time to actually ask for that particular question because the tight schedule that actually I was dealing throughout the day. But it's okay. I'll update to you any kind of new information about this one. Okay. Any other information? Any other question about this one? I think you are not going, okay, you are not going to self-assess yourself. Okay. Yourself is you actually will be assessed by some other peers. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, it's just that your responsibility is actually to assess your teammates accordingly and fairly. That's all that is the only thing that you actually have to concern about. Okay, let me attach for the appendix of tonight. Okay, by the way, guys, before I am actually attaching the links tonight, okay, our faculty will be represented by group 5 for the competition on both on stage performance as well as for not group 5, sorry, group 7 if I'm not mistaken. Is it Zafran's group if I'm not mistaken? Okay, Zafran's. Okay, so they actually did quite good within the assessment, within the evaluation judging process. Okay, so I and some other lecturers actually had discussed about this one together. So they are going to present our faculty for the next film festival going to be held on the upcoming Wednesday. So in this particular event, it's just not about our own campus, the branch campus, the main campus. It's going to be for the campus at Moore as well. They are going to participate and send some of their representatives to actually present for the faculty and section as well. So we are actually competing with the campus at the Moore campus throughout the day. So I think Zafran, by the end of our class tonight or might be tomorrow, I think you can upload the link of your video documentary. I think we have the competition of the best people's choice on video documentary, if I'm not mistaken. So please share your in respect to your link about your video documentary so that the rest of the team can actually press the like button. You might as well get nominated as the best people's choice as well, hopefully. Okay. Now I'm attaching the links. Okay, everyone, please click on the links, attendance for tonight. It's there right now, 18th of June. So back to Evan's question. Evan, you are not going to assess and score yourself, okay? Your peers will actually assess and score you. Don't worry about that. Will we be having classes next week, you guys? Okay. Ahmad Kifayatullah, and then Ahmad Zahirin, Amirah Shafika, who else here? Aikal Ikmal, and Alif Isma, Fakrul Hanif,